Welcome to a bonus episode of Interview with the Pro. Interview with the Pro is a normal part of the Imagine What monthly subscription box for creatives, but to celebrate the spooky season, we're going to dive into the world of the strange and unknown with my good buddy, George the Giant. Don't forget to head over to ImagineWhatBox.com to learn more about the world-building subscription box for creatives of all ages. Welcome to a very special Imagine What. This is like a bonus interview. I'm sitting down with my buddy, George the Giant. I interview a lot of theme park designers, game designers, but there's different levels of world building. And George is I want to say you're a small world builder, because that's far from the truth, because your name is George the Giant.
Well, being 7'3" helps, so that's why they call me that.
So that's why you're George the Giant, because you're 7'3".
Yes, I'm the giant in the sideshow industry.
Sideshow industry. Could you explain to anybody who may not be familiar the sideshow world, and what kind of world are we sitting in right now?
Okay, sideshow is dealing with like sword swallowers, fire eaters, blockheads, people that lay on beds of nails.
We have a bed of nails right here.
Yes,
next
I
to
have
us.
a Guinness World Record bed right there. But then there's the performers. Those are the performers. But a lot of the sideshows that were touring also had small museums. And then there are also kind of like dime museums where people would pay a small fee and get to see tons of different and weird things. Mm-hmm. Some of it very practical and some of it just whimsical or strange. I embraced that. I fell in love with the sideshow when I was 12 years old. I saw the sword swallower and fire eater perform, and I was amazed what the human body could do. Later on, when I went on tour with one of the last sideshows, I was in the middle of a giant museum. And when I would go to sleep, I slept on the stage staring at all these weird and wonderful things. I saw the Fiji mermaid, the swamp booger, just some odd stuff. And so I started buying stuff eventually when I started going on the road with other performers, and then I'd get home and I'd buy more stuff. And when I had a dream of getting like a traveling museum, getting a giant toy trailer, and then building cabinets throughout it, and then take it to carnivals. And then I thought about, I would love to have a site that it just didn't move. And I wanted to do that. My wife was like, why don't you try? And then I also found out about Beetle House and all these pop-up things that were only supposed to be in a location for a short time. And that's when I got turned on to the pop-up idea of, it's basically a dark carnival. It shows up, sits there for a while, and then vanishes.
This is in that DNA right off the bat. So this is in the spirit of the traveling shows.
I was like, that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up talking to your wife. She gave me some ideas of how I could pull it off. I ended up doing a traveling museum, which was, I did these weird baskets with some treats and odd artifacts and stuff that you got. And then I would stand 10 feet away from the door and swallow a sword or block. I did something weird.
You say that so casually, like I swallowed a sword.
Well, I've been a sideshow performer for 30 years. I swallow swords, eat fire, walk on broken glass. So it's like I tied that into the museum. This year, I was desperate trying to find a location. I couldn't find one. And then a friend of mine posted some stuff, and I got a phone call saying, hey, I have a location in Oildale. Would you like to check it out? And she was really good to me, and she set me up, gave me a few more weeks than I would normally have. Usually I come in on Monday morning, pull everything out of storage, bring it in, and work on it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, and open on Friday.
Yep.
And this time I had over a month to slowly get everything in, set everything up. So I was able to really think where everything was, which was a good and a bad thing.
Because I imagine you're an overthinker.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you have no time, you're like, nope, that's good. And you walk off. It's kind of like guerrilla filming. It's you have so much money for so much film. You do 1-2 shots and you're gone. If you have tons of money, you're like, let's do this again. Let's do that. And you do 20 shots. That was the only problem here is sometimes I would end up going back to something and removing everything just to move one item 5 inches.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, "You really did that?" I'm like, "Yes, I did."
So you have a quote I love when people come in here and they ask you, "Is
I have 2 quotes that are famous for me.
Okay,
One of them is from Ward Hall.
Okay.
Which is everything in this museum is 100% real.
Yep.
Some of it's real, some of it's real fake, but it's all real interesting. That was from Ward Hall, and I live by that. That goes into my criteria when I buy things. I have 3 criteria. 1, does it look cool? 2, do I like the story behind it? And 3, would I pay $1 to go see it? If the answer is yes, I buy it.
Warhol,
Warhol was an old-time sideshow owner.
What era?
He just passed away probably around 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
He had World of Wonders, which is still touring around to this day at fairs. He has performers, and then he has the museum attached to it. They finally sold it to another group of people, but the World of Wonders is still working, and he was going forever. He refused to give up. And the guy did a lot of weird stuff. He wrote Broadway plays and wrote books, and some of them people saw.
All right. So what's the other quote?
The other quote is my criteria, which is
okay.
I'm known for those 2 things as saying the criteria of why I buy what I buy, because people ask me if there's a 4th criteria. Mm-hmm. Is it real? And here's the thing. Real is perspective. If you believe in cryptozoology and you believe fairies exist,
Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster,
fairies. Yeah. If I show you the fairy that's crushed from Ireland in the cabinet, that could be a real fairy. You don't know. You have to figure it out for yourself. But if you don't believe fairies exist, of course it's fake because it doesn't exist. Same thing with haunted objects. If it's haunted, I can't tell you if it is or not. I can tell you the stories I was told. There's a couple items. I don't believe in haunted objects, but I do have some items that weird things have happened around me. And so I tell the stories about those. I let you make up your own mind because it's not my duty, not my job to think for you. I bring out the portrait and I bring out the paints and I let you go from there. My job is to open your imagination and let you have fun. I have some stuff I can guarantee 100% are real. I can tell you that the rock from the Berlin Wall is from the Berlin Wall. I can tell you the first edition P.T. Barnum book, it is there. Yeah, it's real.
Verifiable things.
But can I tell you if the jackalope really walked around Wyoming? No.
So this is... we're establishing the world of within your museum and in your imagination that you're trying to construct.
It's my own. Yeah, this is my own art project.
Yeah.
Basically, when you come in to buy your ticket, there is pictures and different artifacts from my life. Pictures that were taken by Nikki Sixx. I have photos from magazines, from the Vogue magazine that I was in. I have pictures of me with different celebrities, Alice Cooper. It's my ego section. It's to show you who I am and why I have the right to show you what I'm showing.
It's building your credibility.
Yes,
to your audience.
It's my credibility. It's showing you that I'm not just some guy who collected these things. Mm-hmm. I have a reason why I collect them. Then when you walk in the door, it opens up straight into the cryptozoology and the roadside attractions where you see a little bit of humor in the collection. I have like a croc. It's what cross-pollination occurs. It's a crocodile and a croc, the shoe, coming out of it.
It might be real. That's up
and
for
then
them.
I have the killer bats in a box. I have the baby rattlers. And then you have the cryptozoology. I have a footprint from Bigfoot. I have a fur trout. I have a swamp booger, which is just basically what Sideshow is based on. Perspectives is how you look at it. Mm-hmm. If you look straight into his eyes, he's kind of scary. But if you visually turn him upside down, He's the back end of a deer. It is what it is. And then when you're done there, you go into the other section where it has the two-headed animals, the Cyclops chicken, and then goes into outsider art. So you get to see carvings on matchsticks, hair art, the Victorian hair art, portraits done with blood. Then it goes over to the more mystical stuff. We have the hand of Mom Bashante, who is a voodoo priestess. We have some other weird objects in the case. Then you go over and it has a collection of shrunken heads, lets you figure out which one's real, which one's not.
So what's your favorite item in your collection? You have to pick your favorite child.
It would probably be a cross between. I have three.
Okay.
3 pieces that are special.
Okay, who are the triplets?
Okay, not including Donnie, who's the mascot. The Swamp Booger, because that belonged to my mentor, Bobby Reynolds. Mm-hmm. The Fiji Mermaid, which could belong to P.T. Barnum, but we know it belonged to Bobby Reynolds also. So those are 2 really special pieces for that reason.
The historical significance.
Historical reasons. Yeah. And then the portrait of a human skull made by human teeth.
That's disgusting.
Because it was one of the hardest pieces to get into the collection. But then for other reasons, I have the haunted toaster that was famous on the Today Show in 1984. And then I have Donnie, the ventriloquist figure. So those are running into, they're all special things to me. It's like, I love them all. And I admit, I love coming in this room when no one is here and just sitting, because it's just the feeling I get of being able to be by a collection that I've collected over the years and be able to just realize that I did this. This is a dream come true. This is a vanity project.
Yeah.
I do not really make any money off this. After all my expenses, I really don't make that much. I do it because I love watching people's faces when they see it. And that is worth everything to me.
It's great because all of Imagine What is all about world building. And we talk to big theme park designers and things like that. But I love about the museum is that I can have a completely normal day, go out to dinner with my family, and then we can swing by here.
And you're just going to see something weird.
We step into a world that almost seems like it runs parallel to ours.
Yes.
And where things that like I've seen before, like in stories, but like now, are they sitting behind a glass case? Like,
well, it's like you're an Imagineering you dealt with, and you're an ex-captain, a skipper. Sorry, sorry, you didn't make it to captain. You were only a skipper. One of my favorite parts of that ride,
of the Jungle Cruise, is the headhunter sitting there. He will give you 5 of his for 1 of yours. 2 of his for 1 of yours.
2 of his. I thought it was 5.
No, because you always come out ahead.
Oh, you always come out ahead.
Yeah.
But over here, we have a whole case of shrunken heads. And it was like, I love that ride. And so when I was able to get certain things, it's joy that I feel I can share to other people. And it's just to see some of the stuff and see the expressions of people's faces. And I think that's what amusement parks like, is you want to put someone on a roller coaster. You don't want them leaving the coaster just sick. You want them screaming, laughing. You want them to go through all the emotions on a ride. That is the perfect ride, where you get them to scream, get them to laugh, and almost get them to cry. But then when you return them, they might be a little disheveled, but they're basically the same person they was.
It's interesting you say that too, because I don't know if you've done this intentionally, but as the museum set up, that first room you go in, your ego walls, you call it. In theme park design, right, we'd call that decompression area. So that is the step between you and the real world. So that's almost like an airlock.
Yes.
So when you're going on Radiator Springs Racers, you're meandering through the hills before you go into the show building and see all the car figures.
And you see the sign, the funny signs of different things. And that's what I want you to do.
Yeah. So I think that's a really important part of the journey of visiting the museum, is having that decompression zone. And just like a Disney attraction, you exit through the gift shop as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll be honest, that's where I make my money.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about
The banners that
banners,
are all
yeah, they're the artwork just historically in these attractions and circuses and carnivals
so
are
a
awesome.
lot of the banners would give you an idea of what you're going to see, but it would be far better than what you're going to see sometimes, or it wasn't telling you the whole truth.
Mm-hmm.
All mine are pretty straight out. It's like I have a painting of Donnie with signs saying "possessed," "alive."
You have your man-eating chicken.
Then we have the man-eating chicken. I did have him a couple years at the museum. People would open the door thinking they were going to see this 250-pound chicken getting ready to rip people to shreds. And it was a 250-pound man eating fried chicken.
Eating a bucket of chicken.
And people loved it.
Yeah.
He liked that fried chicken. But the whole point of the banners is like we have the Fiji mermaid. It's a picture of a beautiful girl with the fin and everything else. When you finally see it, it's exactly what P.T. Barnum showed. It was this monkey head jammed onto a fish. I have a poster for the 16-foot alligator, the terror of the sewer. So when people come in, they're trying to find the 16-foot alligator. And then when I finally show it to them, they start laughing. I have the fur trout.
I think people can, it's almost like a riddle. Like we're giving them a riddle. What is really the 16-foot alligator?
Oh, you have to come to find out.
You have to come to find out.
And then I have like the Mamba Shante poster, which is showing you money and lottery tickets around it because Mamba Shante had the power hand. It believed that anything she blessed would come true. When she died, they cut the hand off. And if you put your hand over it after putting money in the poor box, saying, Mamba Shante, bestow upon me your benevolent blessings, and you do it 3 times, your money will come 10,000 fold, or your dreams will happen. One lady, she said she did it while it was touring with another group and won one of the highest payouts in slot machine history. I can't tell you what will happen. All I can tell you is if you put money in the poor box and do that, a wish will come true because the money goes from the poor box. I give it to the Bakersfield Burrito Project.
Awesome.
Who feed the homeless. So a portion of that money goes to them every year. I do this. I do it because, if people want to put the money in the box and do it and find out if it can work, that's great. I let them. I don't know if it's going to work. I can't guarantee it. But I can guarantee someone's going to get their wish come true because when you're hungry, wishing to eat is a very important thing.
That's awesome. So I got one last question for you. And actually, I think this rolls right into it. You just won the lottery. You get to purchase your Holy Grail item for your collection. What is that top of your wish list?
Well, there's a lot of things that I really want, but practicality, it's like, so I love the matchstick carvings I have. They do some on pencils. They do the carvings on pencils. And there's this one gentleman and a lady. They both do them. They use contractor pencils, which are the rectangle pencils. And they carve trains.
Oh, I think I've seen those.
And it goes through the tunnel and then comes back out. And they're beautiful. And they're very delicate. So you got to be very careful when you have it. And they're around $400 to $500. And I just can't justify $500 that something could break easily.
So fragile.
So it's like, it's something I would love. I like that stuff. I like the 2-headed animals. I like the cryptozoology. I'm trying to get the Fresno, what is it called? Fresno has its own crypto.
Oh, they look like a pair of pants.
Yes.
Night crawlers.
Yes, night crawlers. I'm trying to get, someone's in the process of trying to find a footprint from a night crawler that I'll be able to put in the museum.
That'd be cool.
I would love to add more stuff in the crypto because I love that stuff.
That's my jam.
I want to believe it. I don't believe Bigfoot exists. I want to believe Bigfoot exists. And so that being the case, whenever I see the different films, I'm all excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the different things. I want to believe, and that's the main thing. And I think that's what this whole museum is.
Wanting to
believe something, wanting to learn something. I can give you the history of some of the things I have that you'll just sit there and go, oh my gosh, how did someone do that? I have a piece on the wall. It is a drawing of an old man. And that used to hang out in my house when I was a kid. And I tell the story about it. When it comes down to it, I don't believe it's haunted. It's just childhood trauma. It scared me as a child. When I'd get up in the morning to go at 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom, there was no windows in the hallway, anything. But I will swear up and down to this day, a light would hit the eyes and just freaked me out. And so when it was lost. And then right before the museum, we found it. I put it in the house, and I was grabbing things off the walls to bring last year. And my wife's like, "Why is the old man not coming?" I was like, "Well, that's childhood trauma. It's not haunted." And she's like, "Don't you think that might be a reason you collect some of the things?" And so now the old man has honor. I have him right in the center.
It is a weird, creepy drawing.
Yeah, I think it's Rasputin.
I can see that.
I'm like, it looks kind of a Russian, and I go, then it explains the eyes. But this whole place can be considered an amusement ride because a couple of the rides at Disney I love because they have little bits and pieces in the line that just make you get into and excited for the ride. I was very sad when Tower of Terror closed. I thought that was the best window dressing.
So in Florida.
Yeah, but
you're not in Florida.
I'm not in Florida, and I don't plan on going soon because every time I've gone to Florida, I feel like I lose 20 pounds just by sweating. And I just don't want to do that. Standing in line and sweating does not sound fun to me. And so they turned it into the other ride, which is just as fun when you're walking around inside. Before you go on the ride itself, you get to see all the collections, and it's just gets you into it. And then when you walk out of the building back into the park, to me, it's a rude awakening of, oh, we're back in reality. And that happens here too. I think once you walk out the door, you're like, oh, all the mysteries are gone, unless you bring something home from the gift shop, because I have different things. You can buy a 2-headed duck. I have different things for sale, but in general, I want to encase you in a bubble and have you enjoy yourself before you have to face reality. And I think I'm doing a good job.
I think that is the perfect way to end this. But just one more time, share your quote about it being real.
Oh,
I want to end it with that because that is the theme.
That is what this whole thing is.
That wraps everything up.
Everything in this museum is 100% real. It's real, or it's real fake, but it's all real interesting. And that's the whole point of it.
Thank you, George the Giant.
Thank you very much.
All right. We hope you enjoyed this look into world building with the one and only George the Giant. Don't forget to head over to imaginewhatbox.com to learn more about how you can subscribe to a monthly world building box for creatives of all ages. Until then, remember, only you can create the worlds found within your own imagination. Thanks again.